Okay, I am assuming this is going to work. I don't know. I don't really have much experience with this sort of stuff. And I hope I am not confusing. People want to know how I did that walk thing in my animation, and I was going to show them. I am not going to do a walk thing because they're hard and I am lazy. But I'm going to do a bit of animating and show you how I do it. First, you gotta get rid of that vector layer, because vector layers are annoying, because they take what you draw and change it without asking. Alrighty, so first you want to pretty much figure out what you're going to draw. I'm going to draw a cat just standing here, and then I'm going to have it move its leg later, and that's all I'm going to do. But first you kind of want to draw a circle for its head, and its shoulders, and its bottom. So you kind of know what you're doing, and then zoom out a little. That you press Control, you press Control, and then you just sort of move. That's how you zoom out in pencils, in case you didn't know. But yeah, then you take that and you figure out where you want the paws. Put the paw there, and yeah. And I'm probably gonna edit a lot of this out because I don't like how I talk. I mean, I don't. No, never mind. And then you kind of want the tail, basic, where you want the ears. So then you zoom in, and first you probably want to sort of sketch around your shapes here. And then you're going to want to zoom in and do the details. And Will, I'm trying to do something, so you have to go away. I'm doing a tutorial, and I can't talk to you and talk to these people. Go away. Say something so they know I'm not talking to myself.
Why?
Go away.
What?
Okay, sit here and be quiet. That was my brother, and I probably might edit this out, so you're going to want to kind of just do your basic around things. Just lines, or do your basic sketching. And I always do kind of a fluffy looking tail because those regular straight ones are kind of hard to do. Okay, then you're going to zoom back in on the face and do your details there. I'm not going to do like that Lion King eye thing I like to do because I'm lazy. And you just sort of fill in what you want to do here. But you should always start with the circles, because I didn't do that when I was just drawing before, but when I started animate I kind of figured out that you had to, or else the head grows and the nose grows and the eyes move and all that nasty stuff starts to happen. And the shapes just sort of help you keep everything the same size. Alright, so that's pretty a basic head there. Then you kind of go down there, and so it doesn't look like he's a potato on sticks. You draw do your paws, give him toes, and I'm just gonna fast forward through this later, so I'm not going to say anything else. Yeah. Okay, so there's your cat and has feet, and this is just really lazy drawing right now because I'm lazy. I'm always lazy. That's why I can't believe I actually animate things and put it on YouTube. But anyway, so you're kind of finishing your details, making sure everything looks okay. I pretty much figure out lots of my stuff. I look at my chihuahua, and I know my chihuahua is not a cat, but it works. So there's that, and then I know that I'm going to want its foot to move out here. So I'm going to make another key and keep the onion layer on. But you're going to want to press Control C when you're on the frame beforehand. I'm going to copy it. You're going to press Control C, then you go to the other frame, press Control V, and then it should be there. If it doesn't show up, save your animation, and it should work then. I don't know why pencil's glitchy. So I know what I want to move. When I do this, I'm gonna make my eraser bigger. I know what's gonna move when I do this. Is pause obviously going to move, and that little light line shows you what was on the frame before. I know his paw is going to move, and his shoulder is going to move too. That's lots of people when they're animating just move like the bare minimum, but you kind of have to remember everything moves when one thing moves. And even if you want to, you can even go and redraw the entire frame. But I don't like to do that because it gets your animation jumpy, and so it's almost better not, even though it's more professional, to do more frames and redraw everything. I don't like when my animation gets jumpy, and since I'm bad at keeping it from being jumpy, I just like to go ahead and, that's bad. Just like to go ahead and just copy a frame before. Alright, and instead, lots of people do little bits at a time, and I just like to go ahead and do it. Just do the big movements first, because then I can do the onion layers and get a really good in between, if that makes any sense at all. I normally don't make much sense, so yeah. So his leg moved. I'm gonna have to be careful in there when I ink, because it's sort of combining in there with the other leg, and that's when you kind of might want to get two colors going for each frame and stuff, but I'm just lazy, as I've already stated. So let's get rid of the onion layer and see. Yeah, it moves. Yay. So you're gonna want to take that, move the layer, the frame over, and do a new key. Turn on both your onion layers, and paste that one you had before back in there. Then erase the paw again, the leg and the shoulder and all that, and do an in between. See, he's got to pick up his leg a little bit, because if he's just not on ice or anything, so he can't just slide. So picks it up, and because we have a movement like that in it, that means we're gonna have more than just 3 frames. But pretty much a good rule is, even if you're just gonna do real basic animation, even that, then you have to have 3 frames at least for anything you do. But when you have a big movement like that, because it goes up and then back down, you're probably gonna want 2 more frames to show it going back up and all that, if I'm not being confusing. Let's see. The only thing I have a hard time with is doing sideways feet like that. Blah 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 blah. That works. And also, you don't have to worry too much about the details on the feet and stuff, because they're moving and nobody sees them very long in one place. So let's turn off that and see how that goes. He's dancing, yay. Okay. So I'm gonna do an in between those layers, so you kind of do the same layers. They're not layers, they're keyframes, but I say layers because that's a problem. Okay. So probably gonna want onion skin on so you can see what you're doing. So you do it all again, and it's a very painstaking, boring process. And this is only the sketching. The sketching's the easy bit. I mean, some people disagree, but I really cannot stand inking. I don't know why. I've always had a hard time doing that. Alright, so you have that, and turn on your other onion skin. You go down, get it in between there. Alright, so you know his paw is going to be right about here, and it's going to be moving. Now, you probably can't see that very well, but because of the other leg, but when you ink it, you can make it clear. Just zoom in real good, and so you can see. So his shoulder is probably going to go up, his elbow is probably going to go up a little bit, and then his shoulder is probably going to roll forward. I mean, I don't study animal